Hello, you're listening to Daily Dose with Bennett and Eddie, a secret daily show recorded with our phones during our morning commute.
We share with you our thoughts about business, personal growth, mentorship, veterans issues, online business, our families, and our relationships.
A truly transparent behind-the-scenes look into our thoughts and minds, so enter at your own risk.
Grab the wheel, get in gear, and get your daily dose with Bennett and Eddie. And remember, it's a secret show, so don't tell anybody.
How we doing? Daily Dose. This is Eddie Lazary. And this weekend, I had the opportunity, and it was fun. It was a great time to spend some time with my daughter. She helped me change the brakes on my wife's car, all 4 tires. And she's helped me before, and so this was her second time helping me do brakes. And she enjoyed the first time so much, she was willing to give up the better part of her Sunday to help me change the brakes. So it was really cool. And so the way I taught in the military when I was an NCO in the Army is, and nobody really taught me to do this. This was just, I ended up adopting this teaching style over time because I found it worked. After talking with many people now that I've been out, it turns out that this is an actual pretty wide. Many people use this method as well, so it's not anything that I came up myself. I came up with it on my own, but it wasn't something that I invented. Let's just say that. So the way I taught in the military was to go in, and I'm a very hands-on person. I don't really learn well in textbooks. I am more of an applied person. I got to see it, I got to do it, I got to touch it, I got to feel it. And repetition over and over and over again. And so maybe I adopted this way of teaching because it's the way I learn. And it goes like this. So it really takes 4 iterations. The first time, if I'm teaching somebody something, I do it all myself, and I have them just watch. Just watch and ask questions. That's it. And then I'll do it again, and I will do it myself, but I'll have that person help. Hold this, hand me that, right? And then the third time, then the other person that I'm teaching, they will do and I will help. They'll ask me to hold and ask me to hand them things. And then the fourth and final iteration is they do and I just watch. Right? So again, those 4 iterations are I do and they just watch. The next one is I do and they help. Third one is they do and I help. And the fourth one is they do and I watch. And so this is what I was doing with my daughter, and the fact that we had to change four brakes, 4 tires, made this a very perfect example. And so on all first of the 3 tires, I showed her that you got to break the lug nuts free before you jack up the car. And so, obviously the first tire I did it, and she just watched, and I told her that that's the first thing you do. And then we got to the second tire, and I did it again and explained to her that we got to break the lug nuts free before we jack up the car. And then the third time I was there, and she was doing it, and she did it, but I was there. But on the 4th tire, I was like, okay, move the tools around to the last tire. I'm gonna go. You get started, and I'm gonna go in and grab us some water. Of course, I took a little bit of extra time getting water because I wanted to give her enough time by herself without me there, to really figure it out, to place the jack, to jack it up, right, to break the lug nuts free. I wanted her to do all that. And so by the time I get out there, she had placed the jack properly. She had actually jacked up the car, and she was trying to take the lug nuts off, but she had forgot to break the lug nuts free before she jacked the car up. And so she was out there struggling, and of course it was the rear right tire was the last tire, so there was absolutely, the transmission wasn't engaging the tire or anything. It was absolutely free spinning, and she was out there trying to break the lug nuts free with this free spinning tire in the air, and she obviously wasn't getting it. And I went out there, and I knew what the deal was. I knew what she had done, but I didn't say anything. I just I let her I wanted her to feel a little bit of that frustration, a little bit. I didn't want her to get so defeated that she'd never want to help me do brakes again, but I wanted her to feel a little bit of that frustration, because that's the point when we really learn, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, it is for me. If I feel a little bit of that pain, then the next time I go and do that again, it takes me back. I remember that feeling of pain, that pain point, and it drives me and it motivates me to not want to do that again. So I wanted her to feel a little bit of that frustration, but not too much that she just gave up. So I kind of gauged it a little bit, and she just kind of threw the tire iron down and she's like, I can't get this. I don't know what I'm doing. I said, you know what you're doing. I was like, but what did we do on all the other 3 tires first? What was the first thing we did? And she says, well, and I was like, before we jacked up the car, what did we do? She's like, oh, we broke the lug nuts free. I says, well, why did we do that? Why did we break the lug nuts loose before we jacked up the car? She goes, oh, because otherwise the tire would keep spinning and spinning and spinning just like it is right now. I'm like, yeah, exactly. And she goes, oh, like the light bulb went on. And she goes, I knew we broke the lug nuts free before we jacked up the car, but I didn't understand why. But now I get it. Right? So that's an important lesson for us, I think. There's many lessons here. But how many times do we know things to be true, or we know things to be correct, or we know the right things to do, but oftentimes we don't do them because we don't really fully, truly understand the reasons why behind it. And it's until we actually feel that pain a little bit, and that frustration or that failure or whatever, before it finally clicks, right? And I think that's an important lesson. My daughter, she admitted she knew what the right thing was to do. She knew that she should have broke those lug nuts free before he jacked up the car, but she didn't actually understand the reasons behind it was. So she just thought she was taking something out of order. As long as it got done, then no harm, no foul, right? So she was kind of doing things her own way, but she realized by making that mistake, and she understood the why behind it. I tried to explain to her when I was doing it that the tire would just continue to spin and there would be no friction in order to hold it. I tried to explain it to her, but it didn't actually click until she did it herself. And I guarantee you, the next time we change brakes, she will never, ever, ever forget that again. She will remember next time to break the lug nuts free before she jacks up the car. So I really had a great time with my daughter changing the brakes. I know that's not a very popular father-daughter event, but it is in our house. She loves it, and I love having her help me. So win-win. My wife got four full-way brakes changed, and my daughter learned some great lessons, and I got to spend some time with her. And not only that, but I think it's important for any child to learn to be self-sufficient. And particularly, I think it's important for young women to learn things like this. Learn how to change your own tire. Maybe not necessarily, changing brakes and changing a transmission and changing an alternator. I mean, those are all that's great if you know that. But at the bare minimum, I mean, I think every driver should at least know how to change a tire. I think every driver should at least know how to pop open a trunk of a car or a hood of a car and know how to jump, with jumper cables, jump another car, or, just the basic stuff to keep you a little bit self-sufficient. So you're not relying on AAA every time your car breaks down, because there'll be a time when AAA is just not available. What do you do, right? So there you have it. I just think it's important to empower young women. I think young men should be empowered as well, but in particular, I really think young women need to be empowered and need to learn to be a little self-sufficient in their life, so that they're not so reliant on men. Nothing wrong with having a loving husband or a loving father, but I think as a woman, I think you should learn to be self-sufficient and not have to rely on men in your life to get by. So there you go. Maybe some of you might disagree with that, but that's the way I feel. And there you have it. I hope you have a fantastic day. Talk to you next time.